Do I want to wear my glasses for this? Do I want to give smart? Oh, wait. Oh, wait. I was kidding. I was just trying to be cute. I think I'm gonna wear my glasses for this. Is that a squirrel? Y'all, I took myself out on a date. Okay, wait. Before that, back up, rewind. So I have never ever eaten out alone before. Like I've never gone to like a restaurant and been like, party of one, please, table, not a booth. Like I've never ever done that in my life. Say what you want about that. It's fine. I finally did it. I did it for myself this weekend. I told myself in my 30s, I'm going to be my own best lover. I'm going to be my own best friend. And I really wanted to go out for pasta. It was my birthday weekend. I love pasta. Anybody that knows anything about me knows I love Italy and I love pasta. Okay. And I found an Italian place nearby me that makes like authentic pasta and it was so good. What did I get? I got a shrimp and mussel with like a spicy vodka sauce. The bread was just so warm and toasty, and it was just, it was so good. I used to say, you know, back when I was a youngin', back in my 20s, I used to say you need to treat yourself like your own best love, and still stand firmly on that. But I have noticed that I think what it is, you know, in your 30s, you become a little bit more self-reliant. You become a little bit more like, in your 20s, you're so much more eager to please and so much more willing to put up with stuff that you just will not put up with in your 30s. And a lot of the reason for that is because in your 30s, you just develop such a deeper, stronger relationship with yourself. And the only reason why I was able to take myself out for dinner was because I have built this loving, caring relationship, this best friend relationship with myself. So I wanted to bestow to you some of the ways that, you know, some tips to becoming your own best friend or your own best love, because honestly, I am so excited for my next date with myself. I am so excited for all of the things that this self-love. I'm so excited for all the ways that this self-love unlocks new potential and new experiences. So one of the things you need to do if you want to become your own best love is you need to get real comfortable with being alone, okay? And not in a way that like, I don't need anybody, I don't community, like we're not talking about lone wolf mentality. That is absolutely, because that is almost the exact opposite of what we're trying to get here. But we are trying to get to the point of like, if you are codependent, this is going to really resonate with you. We want to get to the point where you don't feel an impulse to constantly fill the room with somebody else's presence, even if they don't even really want to be there. Because one thing when I was deep in my codependent bag, right, was I was constantly needing even people I didn't even necessarily like to be around me because I was so uncomfortable with being alone. Codependency, I'm not going to say is an addiction because, you know, addiction is serious. It's a real thing. But the impulse, the drive to constantly have somebody around does almost feel like what I would imagine an addiction would feel like. It feels like something you almost have to do, because what else are you going to do? Sit with yourself? What do you do if you sit with yourself? You almost just got to go take a nap, because it's like, what are you supposed to do? But what I have learned in sitting with myself is like, I have learned, you know, how to fill up that time. You know, sometimes I just let myself get bored. All right. This is something I talked about on Instagram once before, and people were like, what? Are you, let me move my bag. Are you insane? Like, sometimes I will sit in a room, no music, no TV, nothing. No reading a book, nothing. Just straight vibes. I will sit on the couch like a sim waiting for the next action and just let myself get bored. And I'll let my brain fill with all the things it wants to fill with, but I do not do anything with those thoughts. It is about just being alone and getting used to the silence. Getting used to, it's also about getting used to being bored, because I think that also plays a part in like why people are not very comfortable with being lonely. Is we are so used to having constant stimulation with being able to just go to our phones and look for, you know, some sort of companionship, some sort of, you know, feedback, immediate feedback by just posting online, sending out a message and stuff like that. And those things are great and they're so important. But also on the other side, I think that does deplete our ability to spend any amount of time in just our ownness, you know? And so sometimes I will just sit and let myself get bored. Let myself get lonely. Let myself get to, should I text somebody? Should I do this? Should I? And do nothing with it. These are not thoughts. These are not things to be acted upon. It is just to let it flow in and out, almost like meditation, right? Another way I've gotten more comfortable with the loneliness is, girl, I talk to myself all the time, okay? There is never a moment that my mouth is not running. That's why I had to start a YouTube channel, okay? Because honestly, I was like, I'm talking so much, I might as well get paid for it. Like, we have to do something with these words, right? There is never a moment where I am not just like, should I do this? Or I'm constantly singing to myself. Like, I'm like, we're gonna make some pasta, we're gonna stir it up good. And then when I'm done, I'm gonna do something fun like put on my hood. Like, that was lame, but like, you get the point. Like, I am always singing to myself. I'm always talking to myself. I'm always like making sure that, you know, it does almost come down to like, that's how you make friendship with yourself, right? You're constantly in communication. Like, obviously you can have conversations in your head, but I feel like there's just something really, really nice and physically stimulating and physically affirming about just like saying the words out loud, like being like, should I do this? I don't know. Maybe I'll think about it. Maybe I'll think about it. Let me give myself a second. It just scratches that itch sometimes, okay? Just scratches the itch that you need sometimes when you want to talk to somebody. And then a third way I've gotten more comfortable with my own loneliness. A third way I've got more comfortable with my own loneliness. A third way I've got more comfortable with my own loneliness is a podcast, okay? Turn on podcasts. Find good podcasts. Find podcasts that you enjoy. I love, there's one by Jake Johnson, We're Here to Help. I love that one. That one is a super good one. I also listen to the Pants podcast. I like podcasts that kind of allow me to get close to my favorite characters, but it's not so much always about the shows that I enjoyed, right? Like the Pants podcast is the L Word, but they don't really talk about the L Word on there a lot. Just sometimes We're Here to Help. They don't really talk about New Girl that much, but sometimes they bring it up. I do also listen to The Mess Around, and that is a New Girl rewatch podcast. But like, there's just something about a podcast, and I allow myself to physically interact with it. I allow myself to physically laugh out loud to it. And I'm not doing it out in public, all right? I'm not looking like weird out in public, but in your own house, you know? And I think this is a thing that sometimes like the fear of being embarrassing, the fear of being cringe sometimes gets in the way of, like, you can be cringe and embarrassing and weird. You could do that outside of your house too, but you are absolutely allowed to do it in your house as well. And like, I will physically allow myself to laugh out loud to podcast. I will let myself have real emotions to things that are being shared in the privacy of my own home, so that I remember, like, I don't have to save the human experience for other people. The human experience exists in me. It is just a part of being a human, you know, and I don't have to reserve all my joy, all my laughter, all my emotions, like my sadness, you know, or my embarrassment or my anger or my curiosity. I don't have to reserve that for other people. It can be something that I have for me as well, and for me to just use at will. I can access those emotions at will if I want to, because I do think that we as humans, we are social beings. And once again, none of this has anything to do with taking us out of that. It has everything to do with making sure that we have a stronger bond with ourselves, have a stronger relationship with ourselves. And part of that is allowing yourself to have that full range, have that full access to all of your human emotions. And I feel like podcasts oftentimes help me unlock that, going through the podcast and then being able to talk to yourself and then being able to cry with yourself and being able to be angry with yourself and being able to be embarrassed and allow yourself to talk yourself out loud through all of those feelings is an important thing to have. It's also important to have friends that can support you through all of those feelings, the joy, the laughter, the embarrassment, the sadness. It's important to have friends for that too. But it's also important to know that you got your own back, babes. Like, you have your own back. And so I've just gotten more comfortable with my own loneliness. Now, another way that I have gotten more, like, I've gained more self-love for myself is doing things that, like, I am a romantic through and through. I am a dreamer. I love cheesy romantic gestures. I just do. They speak to me. And, I don't oftentimes have people in my life that feel the same way, that express love in the same way. And so I've started, just instead of like waiting, for my Princess Charming to come through or whatever, I have decided that I'm just going to do that for me. And not even necessarily in the meantime, but just do that for me, period. Because why not? And that's like buying myself the flowers, I went through a phase where I was buying myself flowers every single week, and that was fun. Or running myself a weekly bath with like the bubble baths and the salts, and I have candles lit, and then I turn on some music and turn down the lights, and it's just such a romantic scene. Like, I'm just even dreaming about it. That's actually what I did before I went on my little date. It was so nice to have that bath, and then to put on my lotions and put on my perfumes and my dress, and then head out the door to go to this restaurant. Like, it felt so romantic. And so I just romanticize with myself, be romantic to myself. And I think taking those little gestures of self-love and giving them to yourself helps strengthen that bond with yourself. It helps really remind yourself that, like, it's okay to want those things from another person, but you don't need them, because you can still get them. You can still get them from yourself. You can still give those things to yourself. You can go and book a bouquet to show up at a random date that you might forget about, and then it shows up and you go, oh, I bought myself flowers. Like, you can do that. That is allowed. And yeah, you know what? It might be cheesy. It might be weird, but also we are allowed to be cheesy and weird. Okay. The internet made us feel like we're not allowed to do that anymore because everybody's like watching, but like, no, you are allowed to be cheesy and weird. You are allowed to treat yourself like you are in love with yourself, because it's okay to love yourself. And like, I feel such a, not as big as I used to, but I used to feel such a big, like, like anytime I wanted to say things like, I love myself, or, I think I'm really pretty, or I think that I'm hot, or, I am sexy. Like, it just feels kind of like a cringy thing to say sometimes. And I know that all comes from the idea that, like, it feels selfish. All of this stuff feels so selfish. It feels so selfish to, like, take self-indulgent moments. It feels so selfish to have these feelings and then to want to express these feelings to yourself. It feels selfish and a little self-indulgent to talk to yourself. But like, it's not. It's not. Things become selfish when they become harmful. And are you hurting anybody by talking to yourself? Are you hurting anybody by buying yourself flowers? Are you hurting anybody by calling yourself sexy and saying that you are the most beautiful person on the planet? Are you really hurting anybody? Now, if you are calling yourself the most beautiful person on the planet and also stepping on bitches to get to the top, yeah, we might have a problem. That might be a little selfish, but like, you're not. I imagine if you're here, you're not one of those people, because I don't want to make a platform that allows those kind of people to be here, okay? If you are here, I can guarantee you're probably not like that, okay? You are not selfish for doing things for yourself. It is all a part of cultivating that relationship with yourself. It is, and that is important. That makes you a better friend, because now I know that there are things that I love. Like I love the idea of having a glass of wine with a dinner and a candle. So when I have like one of my friends comes up to visit or something like that, I give her the experience that I give myself. You know, and obviously I make sure that they're into it. You know, they're not going to be like weirded out or anything, but like I will make, one of my girlfriends, I'll make her some dinner, and then I'll make a the candlelit dinner, and then I'll make her like a signature cocktail or something. And like that comes from, I know how good that feels myself, because I've done that for myself. So it makes me a better friend. It makes me somebody who is, able to express herself better, because I've gone through the motions of learning how to express, my own version of anger, or my own version of sadness, or my own version of jealousy. And now I could talk to somebody else about it, because I've already figured out the language myself. And now it makes it easier to verbalize that to somebody else. Taking care of yourself just makes you a better person, a better partner, a better friend, a better sister or mother, or, whatever. It makes you a better for other people. And at the end of the day, isn't that what all of this is for? We want to be better so that we can continue this cycle of like making sure that we are making the world a better place. And so I implore you to take some time to, even if it's, I used to say on my Instagram stories, and really I should get back to it, like make sure you're taking even just 5 minutes for yourself. You could do a dance break. That was one thing my mom, whenever my mom was a teacher at one point, and she used to, in her PowerPoint slides, she'd always put a song and she'd make her students dance. And and that sounds so corny and so weird, but it's like just taking a moment, even if it's just like the length of a song, 3-5 minutes, like to just allow yourself to just exist in yourself. Just have a moment away from everything else where it's just you. You are allowed that. If you could have more time, then devote more time to that. But even just those 3-5 minutes, maybe just taking the time to make yourself a cup of tea in the morning, or have a glass of water, but do it outside instead of inside. Just take a moment for yourself, check in with yourself, have fun with yourself. And I promise you that's going to spill over into the rest of your life. And yeah, you are going to feel so much better in yourself. These glasses are actually very dirty and they're very dusty, and I really need to clean them. I kept thinking about that every single time the light hit them. I was like, what is happening? My eyes, okay, they're a little dusty. It's fine. But I had so much fun on my little date. It was, okay, wait. It was only a little awkward at first because I sat in my car and I had to hype myself up before I went inside. And I was like, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. It's going to be fine. And they were like, how many? And I just, I was too nervous, and I sweated so much because I was so freaking nervous. Sat down on my seat. I brought my Kindle with me so that I could read, but I think I was so nervous I couldn't even get my eyes to focus on the page. But all in all, I actually ended up having a good time. And I know now that I've done it the first time, I'm more prepared to do it the second time. I feel way more prepared. I also probably won't go during dinner time, like right at dinner time. I'll probably go at like an offset time, like 7 or like 4, as opposed to like 5 or 6, because I think they were like trying to turn tables. And, I just didn't want to be in the way. I didn't want to do it. I have every right to be there. I know that. But no, I think next time I'll probably go around like 7 or 4 or something. But take yourself out on a solo date. Make it a full day if you can, go to the spa. Like I said, I had a bath here at home. Go to the spa, go get dinner, go get dessert. I had a cannoli. It was my first cannoli. It was so good. Yeah, I believe that's all I have to say. So thank you so much for tuning in. And until the next video, bye.